Coworker keeps threatening to tattle on me for time theft. One of my coworkers is especially nosy and keeps tabs on when I come to work and leave, and how long my lunch break is, how many times I go to the restroom and how long each break takes, and so on. Every time I check my phone he notices and writes it down, then later he'll come to my desk and say, "You've wasted 14 minutes today." Why? We're in the same position. He says he has a running log of how much time I waste and he's going to submit it to our manager. Should I just let him and hope my manager doesn't care? Or should I say something to him or my manager now?
First, take a defensive position. Arrive 5 minutes early, leave 5 minutes late. If possible, don't go to HR yet, although they may need to be called in. Normally, I'd say go to your coworker first, but this person is up to something and you don't want to tip him off. Take this up with your manager ASAP, as this is not about time, this is harassment. Mention coworkers timing your use of the bathroom. This is not normal or professional behavior on his part. Tell your manager that he's making you feel extremely uncomfortable in telling you how long you were in the bathroom. If your manager suggests you go to HR about this, do it. This is the very definition of workplace harassment, and should be dealt with by management or HR. Start with management.
This is a direct attack and somewhat creepy. Talk to your manager about it. Ask your manager if this guy is supposed to be monitoring you in the bathroom, etc., and that it's weird and upsetting that he does and makes no secret of it and threatens you with it. You can move forwards from your manager's reply. Your manager should at least talk to the guy. Best to proactively nip this behavior in the bud. Don't wait for the weirdo to do whatever he wants with his log and then react.
Do so in a calm, helpful tone. I think you will learn how serious they are about reporting you. If they are serious and you go right then, I hope, it will be clear to your manager how weird, unsettling, and inappropriate this behavior is. I think it will also be clear how much time your coworker is wasting monitoring your wasted time. The irony, no? You will also be there to defend yourself or correct any misconceptions by your boss. After that, I would be sure to follow up with your boss and let them know it's your intent to be a productive employee, and if she has any concerns about your productivity or work ethic, to please let you know immediately so you can discuss. Also let them know how this whole thing has made you feel worried, creeped out, etc., and then let them take it from there. If they aren't serious, they don't want to go discuss this with your boss, you go discuss the entire thing with your boss and let them handle it.
Whistleblowing is only whistleblowing if you actually whistleblow. Threatening to whistleblow is not whistleblowing at all. It is threatening. The only allowable case is, I will whistleblow you for X unless you stop doing X. For any other case of, I will whistleblow you for X unless you Y, that is extortion, and that is a serious crime in many jurisdictions. For instance, I will whistleblow you for X unless you give me $100, that is plain extortion. Now, in this case, you haven't clearly stated what exactly he wants from you. Has he already made a quid pro quo demand like a favor, lunch, transfer of workload, money, etc.? Or is that the next shoe to drop? He's already placed his head in a noose. It's normal for two different people to recall conversations differently. If you inferred from his conversation a quid pro quo, all the evidence weighs against him. His denial is not credible, and a search of his desk will reveal copious notes as to your activities, proving your claim. The point is, this is a very petty and foolish man. Very sad for him. The kindest thing might seem to be to ignore it. But to protect yourself, this does seem like a race to HR situation. The first one there gets initiative. The second will be on their heels in defensive mode. I would think about what he has really been asking for, then go to HR and tell them what he's been up to.
The answer here is similar to answers on all other questions about coworkers and performance, or coworkers and tattling. Be accountable for your own work, performance, timeliness, and don't worry about others, or what they think of you. Unless this coworker is your boss, he isn't. According to your post, it doesn't really matter what he thinks. As long as you and your boss are on the same page about your work, it doesn't really matter what he thinks. If you have good accountability with your boss and are on the same page with them about your work and your performance, then don't worry about this coworker. Say it with me this time, it doesn't really matter what he thinks. If you're not sure of your standing with your boss, well then, you should be taking care of that regardless of a tattling coworker. If your coworker continues to bug you about these things, take your own favorite ignore, dismiss approach, smile and nod, then continue with your work. Or say, "That's nice," and go on with your day. Don't engage, dispute, or argue with the coworker. Doing so just gives fuel to their fire. You're not accountable to them, so there's no reason to give them implicit accountability over you by way of trying to prove or disprove their opinions.
It's clearly harassment. He's not your manager. Even if he was, and it was within his right to monitor your work performance, it would still be extremely poor behavior. Absolutely do not negotiate with this person or engage in pie throwing, keeping counter tabs, etc. If it is legal where you are, use your phone to record audio of these conversations. Talk to your manager. If they don't believe you, let them listen to one of the clips. If they still choose to side with this person, perhaps they already have a strong personal relationship, or just remain passive. Many managers are afraid of conflict. Look for another job.
I think this behavior clearly falls into the category of harassment. You don't have to say a great deal, but I would give your supervisor a heads up. In the years that I have managed people, I have never seen behavior like this that doesn't escalate, or at the very least, continue far past most people's ability to tolerate it. As far as when you come and go, most professional work environments aren't so rigid that you can't be flexible here and there as long as you are putting in the time expected. Unless you are punching a clock, I can't see concern over a 15-minute longer lunch offset with 15 minutes at the beginning or end of your day. That said, if you are being more lax than you should be, it is still harassment and the issue is still between you and your supervisor.